Now we're live. Welcome back, The Dream Show Live. It's Wednesday. It's 2 p.m. It's a little bit strange for us to be live at this time, but it's going to be pretty normal for us to be live on Wednesdays. Trying to make this a regular occurrence, maybe. So, yeah, I've been super busy doing all the other things that we do in the last couple weeks. How you doing, Isaac?
I'm here. I'm alive. I'm connected here.
I suppose that's better than the alternative, so to say there.
I mean, you've been smashing me since you got back from finishers, so you seems like you're stepping on that gas pedal.
Yeah, that didn't go well for me.
Yeah,
it didn't it didn't feel good after that match. But to be honest, and that's what we strive for here at the Dream Show is honesty. I kind of went to the well on purpose with the lockdown stuff. I knew that he would probably know most of that game because he was, from the finishers team up there, sort of. Even though he's at a different spot now, he's still friends and trains with a lot of those guys. So he's not. I knew he wasn't not knowing what he should do. And then also, typically, like long people are not who you should probably play that style of game on because of the darces and front headlock kind of stuff that they can get into pretty easily with you on that. So I should have probably chose a different style, but in my mind I was made up that no matter who it was, that was what I was going to do. Like I was like, I'm just going to go whoever the opponent was going to be, I was just going to sit and I was just going to try to play some guard and lockdown or what, probably
whichever one you
wherever
got,
it was going to go.
Went, yeah.
And if it went to some other positioning, then I had a couple other ideas of where I thought I would go based on stuff that I assumed about some of these people. And I didn't really know much about them as a whole. The guy I went against, Alec Hubin, apparently super tough MMA fighter, has apparently fought in Bellator. I think he's a brown belt in Jujitsu now.
What was the statement that you said he said about being young?
Oh, about being older? Yeah. He's speaking of like being more patient, I guess, with age and stuff. He just kind of after the match, I was congratulating him on, making some good moves and in the right place. And he's like, yeah, when I was a lot younger, I would have probably like went back for one of those guillotines or something like that and pulled you on top of me or whatever. And that kind of made me laugh because when he said a lot younger. So when I asked, he said he was 28. So I was like, okay, cool. That's cool.
I remember being young, right?
I remember being 28, sort of.
I don't really get to talk trash on that because I'm not old yet.
I mean, I'm not old yet either. And see, that's another thing I guess that kind of came up or comes up or whatever in a lot of these discussions lately, at least for myself, is like the age. Because I think about myself that way. I guess kind of like we talked about, a lot of other people don't necessarily worry about how old I am because I'm still pretty dangerous when we're going live. And I think we talked about it maybe this morning at the gym, you, Zach, and I, but just about being able to like focus on the training more and the
yeah, that was this morning, yeah,
and just being training and just focusing on myself and just being cardio and conditioning and rest and then food and then more drill work and then rest and then food and then just more training live. And you
can be obsessed. It can be like your entire life. Like everything revolves around it.
Like you have to do to be super successful.
At the top, top pile.
Yeah. I mean, you can't do that at the highest level and not be like all in, or you're going to run into the guys that are doing it all the time.
The guy
the younger guys that don't have as much, maybe other stuff to do all day. Like for me, I'm definitely still trying to improve my jiu-jitsu, but I think a lot of the times now when I think about improving my jiu-jitsu, I'm not necessarily even thinking about it for myself. I'm thinking about understanding it better as a whole and overall applications.
That's interesting because, like, that's what you talked about this morning is that, so, like, you're trying to understand it and you're trying to break it down in a way that's not, how can I utilize this best for me? It's like, how does that work for this guy or that guy?
Not how can I go out here and smash fools, but how can I help the people who can't go smash fools start to smash fools without having to smash fools.
Speaking of which, Seth is in here and he asked what style would have best been better matched for that body type.
I should have got on top probably. I should have wrestled him and probably made it a little bit slower match, or drug it out a little bit longer before we got into the exchange. Probably. But then again, you know, I guess, and we could circle into that again later, it was a strategy I chose for a bunch of reasons. Just because of how things went, I guess, during the PGF season, I was thinking, you know, this is a 10-minute match. Like I said, I was going to pull my guard and I was going to let it ride. And if I could get it done in under 10 minutes while starting at 0, then I would feel good, you know, and understand more about what was going on. But my friend that was up there, Josh Adams, that trains in Bethlehem, he was in the tournament too. He knew Alec somewhat and mentioned that, hey, you know, this guy's going to be really athletic, and if you like start with him, he's going to make you go. Like
once you bite that off,
yeah,
it'll
if you
go.
lull him into the play, then you can probably get some stuff off. But if you start fast, he's going to stay fast.
He'll match you.
Yeah. Or no, he'll best you. He's that guy. He's that dude. At least, you know, in most ways, that's how he would attack it. So I probably should have slow played it maybe more on the feet, but constructive criticism makes sense, and doing that sometimes just doesn't work out the right way. So I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to do this specifically. I wanted to sit right away in the first round and just let it roll and just see what happens. And if I won or lost, then I was just gonna know, you know, what it was. And it is what it is. They knew what he knew what I was doing, and he knew how to capitalize on it, and he did. And then, like, when I finally thought I was going to get the escape, he transitioned from the armbar to the triangle, and, like, during the match, I was trying to do something that I can, like, let go usually, and you can get your arm out from the armbar escape. But he just moved right into the triangle from there, just like he's done it several times. You know, like, it was too fluid for that to have been not well rehearsed, so to say, for him. And so yes, there's nothing, you know, there was nothing that I could say to counter that except for, hey, good play. You know, I wanted to force it. I wanted to do what I do in some way from the guard. I wanted to play my guard. I didn't care what happened as long as I did that, right? You know, we talk about that a lot. And for me, as a competitor, I don't always do the best and win or whatever, we know that. But I wanted to prove that I was just gonna, you know, get in there and get into the fray and throw down a little bit. Like I'm trying to really, like, embrace that model, especially using that to springboard into the 21st for the PGF finale.
So building on that, like with I heard what you said on the PGF finale, but like Malcolm was asking a question about being able to build a strong half guard game, lockdown game off of that, like building off what you said and not ending up in a super fast pace. Like, how would you go about that? I think that's kind of how he's asking that question. It's like, how do you see building that? Because you're pulling that and you're wanting to play a guard game like that. You made that comment in the PGF of, like, I'm trying to do my thing. I'm trying to do my art. Is that kind of what you're talking about there? Sort of.
Yeah, sort of. I just wanted to pull the guard. And like, technically for lockdown, man, like, it's not always the right guard.
Right.
Maybe. And then I got a little correction, Malcolm, and we could talk about it. Remind me when we're around each other. I don't want to say it on air. I got a couple of critiques while I was up there about a couple of the things that I could do or should have done that I've
some of that secret sauce.
It's not even really that big of a secret. I just have been overlooking it maybe because I've been committed to a couple of other things that I do, you know. And so when you do what you do and it's been successful, you don't. We talk about that a lot, right? If you hit the move so many times, you're just like, this is my move. Like
It's gonna work. This is every time.
This is a thing I do, and when I do this, this is what happens. Well, now I've gotten to a point to where what I do is now starting to be countered by people because there's more plays added onto the playbook on the other end of that from the other people, I think. So used to what I could do, I would be able to stop people, but now there's more like plays on the end for the top guy. Even if I do get the underhook, for instance, from half guard, I still find it hard even when I get double underhooks on guys who know how to play top on knockdown to really get, especially if they're long. You know, I think that was the biggest thing is that lengthwise, I think that wasn't the play.
Right, play on the long.
She needs to be, a little bit shorter. I think I even said the same thing with Jake at the PGF in that match with him. He kept diving on the front head. It's a problem I have. I stick my head in because I used to do the MMA wrestling. Sit up, stick your head in, and run. Yeah, just tuck your head and run, bro. You can't be on your back. And I still like old habits die hard when your shit's hitting the fan. So technically, I'm making some postural mistakes to allow them to get the top of my head. They shouldn't be able to do that. There's something that has been happening that I'm gonna have to correct. That's giving them that access typically, but the long arms do help. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. So it's the choice of the weapon in the right time to choose it.
It's the short sword, long sword.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's they're doing certain things, and I gotta counter those certain things now that they're doing that. It's the if then statement.
Yeah.
If they do this, then you do this, and it's like, well, okay. Dang it, that's super simple. I don't know why I haven't ever thought about that.
Yeah.
Because somebody's told me that before. I know they have because I've seen it in another context. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting. That's what I mean. You see it play out so many. And that's why I like to compete too, though. Honestly, it hurts. It stings, man. It feels bad. It feels real bad.
I mean, I meant what I said in the comments of whatever. I mean, it's one you're out there and living and dying on your sword and on the conversations that you have with your guys in your gym. Yeah. And so, like, you see guys that come in and they have conversations with you. They're like, oh, okay, so I saw how that worked and how that didn't work. So, like, what's this? And so they get to see. I mean, you've been in this how many years?
I don't know. I think the first time I trained was January of 2008. So going 13, 14 years now.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, you're still going through the learning lessons that, I mean, some of them are like, just now getting those opportunities. So, I mean, between the PGF and we were talking before we started recording here that, like, you're feeling different about the PGF finale than you did on the PGF. Like, going into finishers, was that a different mindset? Like, you've had many different types in this time.
It's always different, I guess, for me at least, because the aim is different a lot of times. I don't know that I ever really always wanted to be the best or win. I think I just always wanted to do good, but I never knew what that meant to myself. What did that mean to do good? It meant to win, but I couldn't always win. So how can you do good and not win? And still, it's not fun then if you can't do good at it, on anything. If there's anything that you're really, really bad at consistently, you're gonna just stop doing it probably. So I needed to figure that out, and I think that's where the art side came in, and that's where I started thinking about it that way. And maybe I've went too far that way in my own expression of the jiu-jitsu because I'm coaching now. That's what I was saying. Now I'm a philosophizer. Now I got to show you the way. Now I got to lead these people from nowhere to they want to know what I know. That's hard. How do I know what I know? I don't even know everything that I know. It just comes up, and sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that's that thing I do.
So have you ever like sat down and like tried to quantify that? Like what do you know about jiu-jitsu? Have you tried to like? I've tried to sit down and write down like in books before, and it doesn't.
Then that's what do you mean? What do you know? Do you mean a set of moves? How many sets of moves? How many submissions? how many positional changes, what sweeps. Like, that's what I mean. What do you mean? Because to me now, used to how much did I know meant how many like moves can you do, but now me doing a move doesn't necessarily mean that I know it or know the way or the right way or the best way, or for just there's so many other things that go into it, and you get into the greater philosophy of like the life of everything, and the choices that you make in life, and the parallels that follow it on the mat. How what you do, it feels pass or fail a lot of times, but you get do-overs a lot of times though also, so how did I get the knowledge I have? I just kept asking for it and taking it from people when they gave it to me, or when it was shown to me, when new information was presented to me that was helpful. I would collect it. So I collect information. Like, people collect cars, people collect cards. Somebody asked that today in a like a mastermind group that we're in. Like, what do you collect? And we kind of laughed. It's like rash guards, ha ha ha. And like, Mandy and I have the little Starbucks cups when you go visit places, the little mugs. But like, I don't collect anything. I collect information, I guess. Like, that's what I like, information about stuff. Not even just jiu-jitsu, but a lot about jiu-jitsu. I like philosophy. I've always really been interested in philosophy as a whole, and like the way of the warrior and all those kind of things were always really, really interesting to me. And in our society, we don't get to live that, at least not daily, and not in a way that's not, kind of detached, especially now with like the guns and computers and different things like that. But like truly like walking that path where you go out on that journey. The meme everybody shares of Ryu walking away with the bag over his shoulder, go sell your
Go be happy, sell your stuff.
I did it. That's how I got it.
Yeah.
I gave away a lot of other things to have that. I gave away a lot of other comforts at another time to get that stuff. And so as a human, I want to kind of rest on those accomplishments, those achievements. It's nice. That feels good. Everybody's patting me on the back. Congratulations, man. You've done it. You made it.
It's a belt. It's a title or whatever.
It's a plaque on the door, or I got my gym now. I got my school, but now the school's like got to grow, because it's growing on its own. Like, it's organically growing. So now we need to do more, and that's great. That's not a good problem to have, but that's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of things that go into all of it. I just, as a coach and as the person, I've came from worse than, a lot of people can think of, but not as bad as some people can. And now I'm here, and I'm sitting in this really nice studio talking to you on a show that I have for people that listen. And the numbers may not be what a lot of people would assume is worth doing and taking the time for. But I guarantee if the numbers of people that were tuning in were like all in front of people, it would trip you out how many people are sitting and listening and paying attention to us. And to me, I guess specifically, if that's what we're talking about. So that part of me is doing well, and is like trying to feel good and accept those things. But then the competitive side, like the me that still wants to kind of get after it and be able to like be the best, like be the best competitor, to be the top guy. I want to be the top guy. Everybody wants to be the top guy. Like every dude everywhere, if he's being honest, would like to be the best fighter in the world, hand to hand, like with their fists or whatever, striking or not striking, no weapons.
Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to be a champion.
Every man would like to say that he can beat every other dude in the world, and they could say they don't, but it comes down to survival. That's it. Yeah. You want to be able to protect yourself and your family at the very base level of everything. So it's, what I mean? It's just, it's that thing. I don't know. And I want to be great. at it. And I want to be respected for my competition record, and I want to win stuff. That way people are talking about me on their social media posts, and not Hunter and not Elijah and not Matt or Jake or Sam or Evan or Kamoy or any of them.
Right.
I want them to talk about me. Right? That's
But then does that feel contradictory to the other side?
Yes.
Does it feel like
Yes.
so opposite?
It is opposite. How can you be the best teammate and the best, like, solo, selfish guy, worried about taking everybody's heads off? But you also got to lead people the way. It's really hard to do both at the same time, you know? And I think that's one thing now for sure that I get, like, and have a lot of perspective on, I guess, in a different way, that I respect Boogie a lot, because he's carried that the whole time that I've known him, going out there and throwing down. Like, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I'm saying. Like, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be like? What kind of people do you admire? Go try to be like that, and then that'll make you feel the feelings that you think you're looking for. And sometimes you'll realize that's not what you wanted, and sometimes you realize that is what you want, and sometimes you realize that's not what you can get, even if that's what you do. It's just not. It just doesn't always work out that way, because it doesn't work out for him that way. He loses too, and sometimes spectacularly. It happens, and that's the part. That's the part. And so I'm not good at being the Terminator, but also the nice soul, because I was the really mean guy before. That was my I don't want to say natural disposition, but my persona would have rather been turned off and mean, rather than like self-aware and trying to be like honest.
Do you think there can be a switch? Like, but can somebody have that switch, be able to turn it on off like a light switch? And
I think some people can, for sure. And I think I could too, if I had really like been exposed to some better thinking on my way up as a competitor, because I didn't have a lot of, for lack of a better term, leadership above me. A lot of the people that I was training with at a certain point and were coaching with me, we were more peers. Like, they were better at certain aspects than I was, so they were teaching me some things, and then I was better at certain aspects, so I was teaching them some things. So there was but there was hardly a like person that was strong enough to tell me to sit down and shut up, or not to do this or to do that, or, you know.
Kind of had to do it to yourself.
I had to choose the path my own way, you know. And so sometimes I thought that I was doing it right, and I'd ask, and they'd be like, yeah. And it's like, man, that was way wrong. Like, way wrong.
Was it, did you have yes men, or did you have more
Unsure.
of just people that they
didn't know
either?
any better. Didn't know any better. We were operating on our best practices.
Yeah.
We all thought we were doing it right. Like, we all thought we were doing the best thing. That's what I mean when I talk to you guys. Like, some people remember, but like, dude, we would beat people up on the, you know, and you know what that's like. They come in the gym, oh, you want to fight? Well, let's fight. And
Flash forward to 5 rounds later, they're laying on the ground.
They know nothing, and you just want to beat them up for a flex, because to make yourself feel better. That's all that's about, right? You just want to make yourself, so you want to feel better about yourself, so you're going to beat up somebody that doesn't know how to fight. So that's what I hate about people who get those like hand-picked fights. That's why I've never taken a retirement fight. I've been offered several times to get over on somebody, to get in there and lay the gloves down and to walk away, but I refuse to do it. I don't like that. I don't like it. Anytime I ever got a walkover or thought I was going in to a situation that I was clearly like favored, I wouldn't underperform, because the stakes weren't high enough.
You needed to be scared.
I need to be scared. And I've realized later, like, and you know, it's my personality, right? But it's because of who I am is why a lot of those choices were made and not made, you know. And if I had other people around me that could have like known what I know now, then I could have maybe been better. But maybe it's not for me. Maybe all this information I gathered wasn't for me. You know, maybe that's the reason that none of it ever like clicked until now, or none of it like worked or whatever. Yeah, it's good. Just freak me out. But you know what I mean? That's why none of the other things ever really worked, because I needed to understand that part Right, and that goes into one of the things Lonnie says and said at the show. Like, what you thought was your greatest, like, downfall or one of the biggest problems you've had is what is going to be the thing you need to share with everybody else. And so that's why I've been looking for what would make me feel better, what would get me what I thought a world title would get me, what I thought all these other things would get me, you know, and that's what the coaching is giving me now. And that's what having the teammates and the friends and the camaraderie. But I still have that dog in me. Like, I still want to fight. I still want to fight. I do. I still want to have a hard fight, though. I don't want to have an easy fight. I don't enjoy those.
I mean, in my opinion, if
it's not
an easy fight's not a fight.
It's not a fight.
It's not fun.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. But then I can't do that. It's not fair to my life with my family, my wife and my kids and my students to do, especially fighting, to take that kind of damage to prepare for it and take the damage it would take to prepare for it correctly, to not take more damage while you're fighting. Is
sometimes camp's worse than
it is way worse.
Fight.
It's way worse. It's 9 weeks of fighting. So, you know, or if you're doing it well, it's 8 weeks or 6 weeks at minimum, I guess. If you're doing it really well, because, you know.
If you know what you're doing, yeah.
So, yeah, so going into the PGF things of, like, mentally I'm trying to shift. I'm trying to get ready. And so that's what I try to tell you. I told you Saturday, like, I think you were one of the first people I talked to after the match. It was just like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta turn it up. Like, I can't be nice to people at school or in the school as much. Or when we're rolling, I got to stay away from the people that I got to take it easy on a little bit the next week. So, not that I got to rip people's heads off or, like, whatever, but I got to get the taps. I got to get the work. I got to go hard. I got to not worry about your feelings about how the roll went today. And a lot of times the coach has to care about your feelings. And so, sorry, guys, you don't always do the stuff that you do in class. It's a little bit, I'm working with you.
I've been a nail a lot, I think is what I told you.
I love you, though. That's why. Like, I'm helping build people up the way I think that I wish I was built up. I wish I would have been armed with more information before I was armed with more aggression, you know, because you go too far that way and you really hurt yourself, like physically and mentally, if you get too aggressive. But if you stay kind of pulled back, safety first maybe, in a lot of ways, you can kind of figure out where those, like, limits lie a little bit safer, I feel like, without going, like, over the cliff every time to have to figure it out, you know?
I've never known how to teach this or have seen anybody, like, effectively teach it, but, like, the teaching people how to flow, how to roll flow. I think that's something that you have. So all of your guys are all young guys. Like, you didn't really inherit that many people that had a ton of experience. And so, like, most of your guys, I don't ever feel danger rolling with any of your white belts. So, I mean, I think you figured out how to teach that.
And so, right. And so that's the thing, though, right? But is that a good thing?
No. All right. Danger. Okay, now I got to take it back. Okay, words do matter. So, like, when I say danger, like, your white belts can put me in positions that are,
but they're not going to intentionally hurt
technically you. They're not going to unintentionally hurt me. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
like, so, like, I guess you've solved the riddle of the spazzy white belt.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, yeah. So to answer that has, okay, and so this is where I think the philosophy thing comes in, and then where we're going to get outside.
There you go. Yeah,
get outside of everything. So I'm going to headbutt Matt Elkins Friday. But beyond that, I love him very, very much. So I'm not going to talk anymore about Matt until after.
Yeah.
So, but for the school, I don't want a bunch of people, like, headbutting each other and breaking their legs and arms and shit the first day or first week or first month. It's not good for business. It's a business. Like, I'm trying to keep the doors open and I'm trying to support my family. You know, we're trying to at least, you know, live off of this thing. So so like, we need to make it a safe environment for people to come and train. I don't have a room full of high level athletes who've already been athletes in other fields who are crossing over from, like, college and stuff like that, and then now they're coming over. I got a lot of people who just are regular kind of people, white belts right now, who weren't the biggest athlete, like weight and structure wise too, which is interesting to me. Is like I've got the big guys too, but the smaller people that we have on our team I'm trying to make them not be spazzes like the other small guys that are higher level are still spazzes in their own right. Even though they're technical, they're still rough. Like that's a joke that I have, but the smaller guys are way rougher than we are. The bigger dudes, like they're way rougher.
And some of them develop that because they're
little.
They feel like they have to bite back. Yeah,
because the big guys had to go hard with them because that's the culture and the way that you got to do it. But how can you get better at jiu-jitsu without doing that? But you need that element of realness because that's what jiu-jitsu is, right? It's the practice. It's the live rounds that give you that feeling. So I'm not going to tell you you can't roll. I'm not going to tell you, you can't train. How can I'm that's one of the things is like you got to be a certain stripe, whatever belt to roll at some places.
To come to
whatever.
rolling class
maybe.
or whatever. Yeah,
So some places do that. That's okay because that's a way to keep people safe. Like I understand that. I do get it. New people don't get that. They're trying to actually, in a lot of ways, save you from yourself to a degree.
Yeah.
But as an adult with free will and thought,
I wouldn't have come back.
And this,
if I was in a school like that, I wouldn't have come back.
I just want to see what it's like. And so I'm going to caution you several times, and then I'm going to tell you how it is that this is how we do it. And so the culture started for us as the default was to go light and to protect each other. We started in the middle of a pandemic. You did not need to go to the hospital. You did not need to get roughed up and beat up. Everything else in the world was going wrong. Everybody just wanted some community and to hang out and to have fun.
Not a broke ankle.
And not to be getting beat up. Not really, And so it actually gave me the ability to do what I wanted to do anyway by doing that. I didn't have to weed through so many other people at first to get that core group of people who were going to listen to me and to follow the rules. But like I've been pretty hell bent on making that the case for that. You know what I mean? And so much so that some people wonder, is it too soft? I don't know. For some people, maybe it has been, but for a lot of people, it hasn't. They're building up now. They're starting to get to that point, and now when they turn it up, they're armed with the right tools to get through the job.
They reach for the right length sword.
Yeah, and they're not just getting wrecked for no reason. Like you're not just laid out.
Because you just don't know anything.
We haven't spent hours shrimping up and down the mat, wiping the mat with your back, but we have a really good guard retention skill set, I feel like, and finishing, like guard attack system or guys that can attack from their guard, like for the level of people that we have.
I think you made a point this morning that you were talking about the guard being an attacking guard. That might have been when you were talking about it. Either way, you were talking about like attacking from the guard versus just accepting.
Yeah, there's a difference now. The things have kind of changed a little bit, and so like I think it's important to have a good guard, but I think it's much harder now to pass guard than it is to play guard in a competitive field against a good player. That's why most people sit down, because they know they can score on you from their back easier. You can't get to their back if they're on their back, so all the attacks have to stay in front of me if I'm on my back. So when you're up on top, your back is exposed in some way. Even if you're face to face, they can get to your back easier than you can get, because then you have to pull them on top almost to get to their back in a lot of ways. So unless you can pass the guard, which is again increasingly hard over the because that's where the refinement has happened the most, I think, since the inception. Not maybe recently, because there's a lot of good guard passing stuff, but even no gi guard passing versus just the same style of guard passes without the gi on. like not using the same grips and not using your hands as much when you're passing for the same like staples and the same pinning combinations or whatever you would say. More of that floating style has
Body
really
position.
body on body, like making the connections physically rather than using a rope and as a wheel. It's a crutch. And sorry, if you love the gi, that's okay. And I don't mean that in a bad way to anybody else, but it can be a crutch if you're used to using that if you only have plays with the lapels and stuff, then it's gonna cost you. Just like if you can only play legs it's gonna cost you. And if you can only play on top, it's gonna cost you when somebody puts you on your back. And if you can only wrestle, it's gonna cost you. Know what I mean? You have to know more than one. You have to know everything. At least that's my problem. I can't though, but I have to know more than everybody about every part of grappling. And then I got to be able to beat them at it too.
Is that the goal? Is that?
Oh, that's what I tell myself,
that's
right? That's what keeps me up at night a lot of times. Those are the things that I think about to myself. How can I be all these things? How can I be this guy and that guy? Is there one guy that is, but all these people?
How do they coexist?
Who are they? And is that real? If you see something, like, you know what I mean? What parts of it are, I don't know. And like I had a conversation with someone else and they were talking about, like a game that has this ranking system of where you can get so many ranks or whatever. And so kind of like maybe just use your jiu-jitsu belt system. For instance, this is what I immediately this is what I said. I can reference jiu-jitsu to anything you want to talk about. So you got a problem, I can figure out how to
jiu-jitsu.
I can wrap it up. I can jiu-jitsu that shit. We may not fix it, but we'll work around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so like they got white, blue, purple, brown, black, or whatever. And so average people, anybody that starts the game, obviously is a white belt. Everybody's boom.
Everybody day one.
If you just get in there and start rolling and training, you get to be a white belt, and you can get up to like the 4th level of white belt,
right,
or whatever. But then when you get to blue belt, you're kind of like average person in the world or whatever, you know what I mean? And so using this metaphor as a life thing instead of a game thing too. Purple belt, that's when you're starting to get to the above average kind of person or level of life or whatever you want to think of.
You make something into an art because you can do it kind of subconsciously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then brown belt is like maybe not elite, but you can dabble in the elite and you're way above average. But then there's black belt, which is the elite level. And so then if you're pursuing things that you're passionate about, you're always pursuing it at the black belt level. Even if you don't have the black belt understanding yet. And so maybe you're stuck at purple belt for a long time because that's average. And that's where most people give up, is when they hit the comfortable spot. Like kind of like I was talking about, like getting comfortable. When you hit that average, you kind of, like the guy who gets his girlfriend or whatever and he quits training. Mm-hmm. He got what he was looking for. He didn't want jiu-jitsu. He wanted a girlfriend. You know what I mean? So like that thing happens when that happens to you. Do you accept that you're a purple belt forever? Do you double down on the things you're already doing to see if that gets you to the next level? Do you seek out those brown belts, maybe, and ask them for a couple tips on what they're doing differently to get just maybe that incremental difference, maybe? The black, just keep mimicking the black belts that you see that you want to be like. What is that process like for a lot of people? Because I don't think at best you start past purple belt athletically, because you got to work to get to the mastery at black. You know what I mean? So you may start ahead of someone from, athletically from white to purple, and that's why you may never catch an athlete in competition, like certain people. Mm-hmm. You may not ever be able to catch that physical advantage, but mentally, they started back here with you. So that's what I mean. Like I said, like competition and jiu-jitsu and the knowledge and jiu-jitsu. I think Jake Elkin said it at that camp, was like, it's not a knowledge contest. You're right. It's not. We're not seeing who knows the most wrestling or who knows the most jiu-jitsu. It's not who knows the most.
We're seeing who's better at it
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
in this very moment.
Right now. Not on video, not in the past, not in the history of the world. Literally, between me and you, with the way you're feeling and thinking, the things that are happening in your life and every other way, right now. That's pretty crazy that you can base your whole value of yourself on something that's that, like, narrow of a moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I try not to put that pressure on myself, but then that makes me take it not so serious because then it's just fun. And then that's when whatever. So going into the, circling back, the difference in feeling going into the PGF regular season was unsure. Didn't really know what I was getting into.
Didn't know what it was.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, I'm going to go do some jiu-jitsu matches with some of these guys. I'm going to smash some people. Probably going to get beat a couple times.
You'd had that whole year off too, right?
Yeah,
because I mean, you started the gym and then you were training
I
by
hadn't done
yourself in the
anything,
garage at one point.
Yeah, all that stuff. You know, I had the one match with Chad Fields in Dallas, right in whatever that was, August or whatever. So I don't know, October or something. And then, yeah. And so I was just like, yeah, man, I'm just going to go do it to have some fun. And, like, I thought there was going to be a bunch of, like, white and blue belts only, honestly. I thought
you just started seeing I think that was on the Dream Show.
Yeah, a lot of, like, some of the
Wait a
names,
minute.
they shortened the thing from the long time to the short time, and then the list started getting stout. And I was like, Lord, have mercy. What have I done? So, yeah, so I just wanted to go have fun there. I did, too, and I wanted to go compete and have fun. But then all the stuff that we've already talked about with the teams and the that threw me off of my game somewhat. You know, that doesn't mean, I don't know what would have changed had I went in very seriously, except for it would have took the fun out of that week, probably. It would have made that whole thing more miserable by the end of it, probably, had I went in with that really hardcore mindset the whole time. I don't know if I could have carried that through the whole week, honestly. You know what I mean? I don't know if I could have sustained that attitude mentally and then still, like, been okay with what came out, if that makes sense.
Right.
But I think I can do it for one night.
You think you, like, so that's, you're talking about, like, opening up the, like, reaching in and just opening the door. And, like, so we're talking about that switch. I gotta find that guy over the next couple of weeks. Over the next week, and I don't know what that looks like. I don't know. I'm worried, not in a bad way. Worried, like I'm not saying that to be like whatever. Like I still want to be with my family. I still got to be a good dad. Still got to be a good husband. I still got to be a good coach and all those things. But like the urge in me is to like turn off my phone, turn off social media, don't talk to anybody, put on a hoodie, some headphones, and just be alone or be training, and if that's it, and start hitting, like I'm trying to go to that dark, like I'm subconsciously being drawn to that space mentally, especially after Saturday when I got beat up. So is this like the Anakin turn to the Sith moment type deal, or is this like, I mean, like just playing with that power type feel?
I don't know. I've already felt like, that's what I'm saying. Is like I've already done that, like, you know, and it's what you got to do to compete though, because you're not competing if you're not really trying to put them away.
I would guarantee you that Matt's expecting the same.
Oh, I know, and that, like, I expect that from them too, and like that's what I'm saying. Seeing everything being played back, Matt specifically never said anything bad about me at all, but getting to know now the mentality that he has about competition and the way that he approaches competition.
He's a gamer.
And how good he is at competition. Obviously, oh yeah, we didn't even get to do a show after the last thing. He freaking lullabied me, like, and I overplayed the dang being worried about a heel hook because he elevated Big Mike with his hurt knee and then heel hooked him with butterfly guard. And so then when he sat down, I just kind of dove down on my knees, you know, and just like collapsed down and then just popped back up like a damn, I don't know, And then I just like fall forward like an idiot, and he just grabs onto the tightest front headlock in the
That's
the
his thing.
Southeast.
That's his thing.
No, of course, man. He did it right. He did it well. The dude is a true gamer. He is there to compete. He wanted to win. He didn't care how, as long as it was within the rules, within whatever. He didn't know. He wasn't going to play guard unless he would. He sat down though. He was going to play it for a second, and then he saw what I did, and he was immediately like, "Oh no, too heavy. Jump back up." And then, he's falling forward now because I expected him to be there. I expected to get my hands on him, but there was nothing to touch. So I fell forward, and that's when he jumped on. Like he got on my head because I leaned too far forward. It's because he wrestled up, but he's supposed to be hurt. It was supposed to be like.
You didn't hear him. You didn't hear him when he was saying that he's just been making that thing. I can't do it like he does.
No, see that's the thing. Like he's such a good trash talker in the moment too. Like he's good at playing the room, so you don't ever know
if it's real.
If it's real or not. So that's even the interview, the post interviews, he was saying stuff. It's like, is that really what you were thinking or doing? But the funniest thing was like when the match came out that it was he and I in the 15th block or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, it didn't even matter who it was. I wasn't even thinking about Steven. I was thinking about beating my brother."
Yeah,
because he had to beat me to beat Jake in the regular season, which made it the stakes for him were so much higher in that moment than they were for me. Like honestly,
there's a lesson there.
I was cruising, like not to take anything. I was gonna smash him.
Yeah,
but I wasn't. The desperation wasn't there like it was for him because I wasn't gonna better my positioning truly. Like what I mean, like dollar for dollar, or I wasn't gonna beat somebody. It wasn't gonna put me ahead of anyone to win that match. But I really wanted it for personal pride, But not as bad as he did. He was like, I don't give a if I only have one leg by the end of this thing, like I'm not gonna lose to Jake. And it was like, oh, well that explains a lot, like of the way that you think. Not that it's right or wrong or anything like that, but like it's just competitive, like uber competitive.
Oh,
and they don't want to give away anything. They don't want you to beat them to the door.
Bro, those three brothers have been competing their entire life for everything.
Yeah. No, they don't want you to get anything more than they do, before they do, better than they do, whatever. Like, they're really nice guys. But if you want to compete, I think they're down to take it as far as you want to go. Like, that's the kind of guys they are.
They would compete against you at lunch on, like, how to eat faster than the next guy.
If somebody else was, if you challenge them down, let's go. Foot race. Let's go for a foot race, I'm not really a runner, but, can I beat you? I think so. It's just...
I kick your leg real quick and,
What is that thing you think you're doing? Yeah, I can beat you at it. But that's it's like, that's that mentality. And, like, I don't know what that is. I'm not that guy. Like, I don't, like, that outwardly.
Right.
So, like, to do it that outwardly, you got to kind of carry something inside of you that, kind of like with Evan, in some way, to make that song, there's got to be some kind of something inside of you that just doesn't care what people say or think or are going to do or whatever it is.
There's power in that.
For sure. That's all the power. That's where the power lies, is in not caring what the other person thinks or says or does and doing what you want to do. Do what makes you happy, right? So, personally, I love doing jiu-jitsu. It makes me happy. I like coaching my students and being a good leader and teammate and like loving my kids and being a peaceful parent as much as I can, trying to work on like those types of things, not passing on the negative traits of that kind of attitude to my kids. And I think honestly, this is one of the things about that is like, I can't carry it home with me.
The competitor, like you don't want to be that guy at home.
I can't take him home. It's not fair to them. And like Mandy mentioned it after the PGF, she was like, I didn't even think about it until one of the shows we were talking about it, but like that I went back into that kind of cave. Like it was just me and you in the room, and you could see some of it. Like I wasn't trying to be social by about the third day. I was trying to get away from people.
You're trying to,
And that's me trying. Like that's when it starts going the other way for me, But to compete and to fight, that's who I kind of need. I need that kind of solitude. You know, I kind of need that I'm resigned, like, and not metaphorically, anyone. I'm resigned to die for it. And so for me, it's somber. It's not like all hyped up and stuff like that. I'm somber because I'm accepting that the fate is maybe not in my favor, but I'm going to make the walk, you know? And a lot of people I don't think are that same way. They think they're going to win.
They have to hype themselves over the hump.
Right. And they think they're going to win, though. Like, some people are just, I think they really
Oh,
believe.
they're convinced that they are
They don't
that
see
invincible.
any other way. They don't see it. And I do, though, because I've been clipped before. Like, I've never been knocked out clipped, but I've been beaten. So I know what that is like. I know what it's like to lose. So a part of me is more prepared for that than it is to just accept victory. Because victory is not guaranteed. Like, the path is not defined. Every time you take the walk, every time you make the walk, it's different. Every time you choose, it's different. It's that the man walking through the river metaphor. It's not the same man or the same river. Every time you cross through, it's different. And it's the same thing. I feel like
this is your river.
This is, and I'm trying to figure out which way to cross it, in the right crossing. You know, I'm still like we talk about going too far one way, too far the other way, and this is what I say. Like, I'm struggling. I don't say struggling personally with philosophy as a man, sort of, I guess, and maybe this is some of the modern age stuff that's leaking in, like the outside world blending into my idea of what I should do and say and be as far as a man, and then what I really would want to do and say and be, you know, as a man. And that can mean to both sides. Like, some people are too hardcore, like uber masculine, and I think that's not right. And then some people would be too soft and like passive, and I think that's probably not right either. You know, you gotta be willing to fight when it's time to fight, and you gotta be able to fight better than the other person. But you can't always just fight. You gotta be able to mentally jujitsu people. You know? And so
Yeah.
it's that thing now. Like, of course I can beat up a lot of people.
But do you have to? It's kind of like
Should you?
Or
Should you? Do they need to? Kind of like we were talking about. I think Zach made a joke about it or whatever this morning. But you were passing, and you kind of did it a different way than what I was saying. But you did pass, and I was trying to correct you, and he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "No, that's just not what I'm talking about right now. I mean, that works.
Not in the moment, yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Because we were trying to do something specific.
Yeah, it's like, you can do that, but I'm talking about doing this, you know? And so I could have just, like, been an asshole to you or said something really, really mean about you being stupid and dumb and, like, that's not what I said and that's not right or whatever, you know? But I can let you be wrong. Or what I can let somebody else be. It's okay to let somebody be wrong. It's okay to have not all of the information.
You still corrected me.
Right. Because that's not what we were doing right now. And that's my job. But I still told you that's just not what, you know, I didn't have to berate you for it and tell you that it's wrong. Because it wasn't wrong. It's just not the right move that we were doing. Like, you could totally pass people's guard that way. But it wouldn't be as precise as what I was going for. Now, I didn't go around and give everybody else that exact correction, even if they were doing it the same way you were doing it. Why? They don't have the depth of knowledge you do yet.
They don't have enough data points.
That would just, it would confuse them more.
Muddy the waters.
Just get around their legs. Get in there. Yeah, that's great. That's great. We'll tighten it up. We'll tighten it up from there. That was really good. Let's do another one. And then if they start doing that really good, then I can start adding that next layer. But you, purple belt, or should already be at this level where you can understand these other things. So I don't have to speak to you in as layman of a term. I can give you that extra thing, and you need it. I can't let you just keep doing it not as good as I think you could do it if I'm trying to really be your coach. or, someone like that. I can't let that. If I really care about you, I need to challenge you about things that I disagree with.
But you don't expect the white belt and the blue belt and the brown belt to all have the same knowledge.
Not even, never. You can't. They don't. Yeah.
That's where I think a lot of guys miss the mark. I think that's where a lot of guys are trying to, like, when they're coaching or teaching, they expect the whole room to look
to know what you
know.
know.
To know it.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, you have different layers of what people know.
So like those are the things that are interesting, because like, and then if you're an athlete, then you could totally get by with doing less precise work, maybe, until you run into that other athlete. So then if there's someone in the room that is hugely athletic and they're just doing stuff and it's like, okay, that works, you got to be able to stop them too and say, listen, I know you're being super successful at this point for your level, but when you get to the next level, that's not going to work.
That won't work, yeah.
And so that's coaching, right? I've got to coach you to your level. Of course, I want you to get the black belt details. I throw them out there. They're out there, and you'll get them the more you keep coming. That's
when you're
ready.
ready.
That's why they say keep showing up, keep coming back. It's that spiral of knowledge thing where your depth of knowledge gets deeper every time you see it. Every time you see something, you understand it differently. Not always better or worse, but differently. And every time you get a rep, you feel it differently, so you understand it differently. And then I can explain, and you see this sometimes in class too. We get a little bit caught in the weeds. Somebody will be like, well, this time you did that with your right leg. This further time you did this with your right leg. And it's like, oh, well, I was thinking about this other thing that time, and that time I was, like I have to preface to some people, hey guys, I'm looking up like this because I'm talking to you. But if I'm really doing it, my head would be like down and you couldn't.
Or like you were being nice this morning and like missed my ribs, but you're like, God would really land right square.
I want to hit him with my body when I do this and hurt him. But for now, I'm going to post right here to take the weight off when I do it. But yeah, like things like that. Like, or I could just keep smashing on people while I'm doing it. And then, like, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it doesn't seem to be the right way to do it to me. But so I feel like explaining the things is better for some people, but some people just need to do it. So that's why we're trying to get into the way that I teach, where we try to bring it in. And I've been trying to get better at like not talking too long, because I know some people need to get into the action. Some people need to hear all that information, but I realize sometimes they don't. And especially if it's about a specific movement set or something flow. But if I'm talking about the philosophy stuff, sometimes I feel like I got to go down the rabbit hole, and get deep into the weeds on some stuff, because you don't have the base knowledge to get to the top of the, the knowledge chart. So I'm like, oh crap, they don't get it. Do you get this? No. Yeah. Okay.
I think your teaching style and like I've noticed that it just by happenstance, the ones that I've been in have been 10th planets, but like the guys that teach like you, like you teach very similar to how Boogie did his seminars, how Brandon teaches, how like it flows in and out. I used to always struggle with jiu-jitsu class that like to sit there and listen to the listen time, because it started feeling like school. I was not good at paying attention during that moment. I don't find myself in your classes doing that, and I can't pinpoint what it is, why, but I think it's because of the depth that you go to.
Right. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That was more of a statement than a question.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Like, those are two guys that I like a lot and respect. And, again, those are two people that I've admired and thought, wow, I like what they do. I'm going to make that my way. I'm going to do the thing that I like that they do my way, because I'm going to take away some of the things I don't like.
Right.
Some of the things, because everybody's got things you don't like. I'm sure there's things that I do that people don't like. My students, some of my best students, my favorite people, they love me. But there's things that I do that they probably just like, oh, dude, if I ever get my chance, I'm never going to do that to people. I'll never do that. You know what I mean? And so like that's the thing. Like it's not even like something that's that bad. That's what I mean. It's just like, you know, you chew with your mouth open or something like that. You know, like it's just something. It could be that you know, or whatever. Or they tap you out 9 times every time you roll with them, and it's like, man, he's so good, but I just tired of getting tapped so much.
Just tired of it.
Yeah,
Get better.
Yeah, got to. And so that's the thing. Like the shell shock happens once you start getting blitzed like that. But at what point are you ready to accept that kind of blitzing? You know, I don't know. That's back to the coach versus competitor guy.
Yeah.
Why are you at jiu-jitsu? That's what I need to know.
What are you looking for?
I can get you what you need for the most part. Maybe not everybody. Not yet. Because we don't have a big enough space, or we don't have enough high-level people in the room every day to get the best competitors, the best training every day yet. But we're building the people that will. In a few years.
Well, eventually they become the competitors, and then the competitors are like, "Yo, hey, let me come train with you."
Right. And if the depth of knowledge is already there, then when you kick it up, it's on. You don't have to worry about slowing it down
because they're there for this. I mean, it's like you said this morning. I think you made the joke of like, Isaac hates himself too. You can smash him. Yeah. And it's like, that's kind of where you have to be.
Just come on, just do it. You know, and I think that's to a degree, some of us are that way for sure. Just don't even know why we're doing it for sure. Just love it. Like you don't know what buttons it's pushing for you exactly, but it hits those buttons when you get in there and you're going hard. And even if you're getting your butt kicked, you still feel good when it's over. Even if it hurts, like it does hurt physically, but mentally it feels good. So it's that weird duality thing, you know, where it hurts, but it also feels good. Or
once you get over the loss, like what you're taught to think of as loss, and I don't know if this is the same for females or whatnot, but like as like little boys, like as being one myself at one point, like you're you know,
you have a perspective on that.
But like as a little kid, like you're taught like. You know, losing feels bad. You don't want that. Yeah. You don't want that, which is right, 100% right. But like,
you have to have it.
You have to lose. You will lose.
You cannot not lose and win at some point. Like nobody wins the big stuff unless they've lost something along. You know, that's where you get your depth of knowledge from, the mistakes. That's how you understand things better, is trial and error. Like, they didn't invent the light bulb with the first idea.
There were hundreds of failed, thousands of failed.
Right, just years and years and years of, you know, madness probably. But you're failing forward. That's what I like to say. Anytime I fail, I try to fail forward. Like, I lose. I'm not the you don't lose guy. Like, there's a lesson in losing. A lot of times that's the best ones. They suck. They hurt, but they're right there, and they're at the top, and you can feel it. So you can take something, you can really grab that one and get something from it. But if you're not really out there, like, in the arena, then what do you know? If you never challenge yourself, what do you know? If you never stepped out so far that you may fall and lose your balance, then what are you actually getting? You're going to be the purple belt forever.
You can smash a white belt.
Yeah.
Blue belt.
You're going to be just good enough to be the guy that's the best in your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great for most people, right? The average person.
That's the mountaintop.
That's the top of the game, and that's fine, man. That's super fine for most people. But I just don't feel like I guess I'm most people at this point, because I still want more of it. I still want more. And now the bigger flex is smashing the knowledge rather than the physical. Because we're, like you said, like as a little boy, it's all physical. For them, you know.
To win, yeah.
Yeah, just it's
winning
all,
and losing is a physical thing, yeah.
It's all winning, yeah. And so you internalize that. And so when you compete, and that's what I was saying about like maybe going to that darker place when you're having to compete with people, because I think that's the way that it's taught to you a lot of times. That's what you feel like if you don't achieve. And achieve means win. Achieve isn't grow. Achieve isn't get more information. Achieve isn't try to be educated. Achieve is be first or be in the top percentage every single time, or don't do it again. Oh, you weren't good at this. Let's don't do that again. You know, like that hurt. We're not going to try it again. You know, you got to lean into those hard moments like that, you know, and I think that's what fighting in jiu-jitsu, but fighting for sure, like helped me understand. And then walking away from it has really helped me understand that was not the only way. Like I needed an element of that. And the kind of like I talk about with you. I don't know what that fatalistic thing is, where it's like you just got to see. Like, I don't know. You're like, I don't know what I don't know. I just got to see. Who is he? Yeah, I think I can beat him. Let's see. I don't know what that is. And a lot of people don't have it. But I grew up thinking everybody had that.
I just want to see what it feels like. That's
right.
Like, all right, let's see. You think you're great? Let's see.
But you don't have to do that. You don't have to be the hardest dude that can beat everybody up, like always. And you don't have to always be. You're not gonna always be the one that knows everything. You're not gonna be the one that's always the best, the fastest, smartest, strongest, best prepared. What, you know what I mean? And even if you are, sometimes you're still not gonna get the thing in life. And so if you're taught to pass or fail, a lot of times that mentality kind of creeps in, and fail becomes your like life story.
It's a stopping point.
It's who you are.
Yeah.
You fail. I do okay, but then I fail. Because that's what you were taught happens. You're first or last. That's the joke, because that's what people. Those jokes are jokes because
it's funny because
people
it's
feel
true.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like people feel that. Oh hell, man, you be 5th, 17th or something. Those guys are still getting paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, it's great. You know?
Some people just get just doing the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like another good one that I've heard recently, just and to reference it to things that people may get around here, but Jake said it at his coaching. I keep referencing Jake. Like the guys that was a great camp, the coaches camp.
Yeah.
But like you don't see Nick Saban out there covering the wide receivers. Like
right, I got you. I get you.
So I don't have to go out there and beat up the best athletes right now to be the best coach. I just want to. Those are two different goals, right? They're two different goals that I have.
Right.
And so it's just, you know what I mean? So
the coach and the competitor can be two different people.
They are.
Yeah.
Almost. Like
they have to be. Yeah.
But I am like, but when I'm coaching, I want to be the best coach. I want to have the best.
That's a whole nother
I
dynamic.
want the best team now.
Yeah.
Now I want to be the best team guy, not the best individual.
Which now that means that you can't be selfish.
And so that's hard. But I have to be selfish if I want to compete well, or I'm going to lose. And if I lose, then I'm worthless, and my team won't want me. I won't be a part of the tribe anymore if I lose. How do you reconcile all those things? That's why you got to do it, man. Just do it until you can reconcile it. The lesson's going to repeat itself until it's learned in some way, you know. You're either going to pass it down to your kids, and they're going to pass it down to their kids, but the lessons repeat themselves until they're learned. Like, and so I'm trying to learn as many lessons as I can so other people don't have to. My kids, mostly. And everybody else is benefiting from that, so y'all should thank them.
Yeah.
Like, real talk.
That's
real talk.
That's 100%
Real
it.
talk.
Yeah.
That's it. That's 100% it. If I'm being, like, trying to be honest. Like somebody sent me a message, man. I think, I appreciate you being so genuine. I appreciate, I love how honest you are. I can't remember the exact verbiage on that. And that's what I want, man. That's what I want to be remembered for. As I was genuine and I was honest. And I told you like it was, but not in a way that forced my opinion on you. I told you what was real, and you can choose. And I'm not telling you that you have to choose what I think is right. I'm just telling you what's real, not right and wrong. Those are different. They're different. The reality of things is not that it's always right and wrong. It's not always pass or fail. It's not A, B. It really is A, B, C, D, whatever. It's easy to get degrees. What's up? You didn't have to go to Harvard to be a good doctor and to make a lot of money. You just wanted to, or your parents wanted you to. So you wasted all this time and energy and focus trying to be that person. And there's nothing wrong with being that person if you want to be that person. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be that person, though. But I wasted a lot of time in my life trying to be that person because I thought that's what a successful person was somebody that went off to college and got this blah, blah, blah job and made this X amount of money every day to make this amount of house and this amount of car and this amount of, square footage in the yard or, acreage, stuff like that. But now it's like, I'm not like that. Like, I want just enough, but what's enough? I don't know. I'll figure it out as long as I have it. And if I don't have it, I'll figure out how to get some more of whatever it is that is lacking in my life.
That facilitates.
Which is a natural thing for humans. You know what I mean? You hunt and gather things that you need. And sometimes there's different things that you need that's not money. Money can get you a lot of the things you need, but it's that stupid.
It can't be the end.
It's not. It doesn't buy everything. It can't buy you love. It can buy you heartbreak from fake love, from fake followers, from fake friends, or from people who think they're going to get something out of you. At the end of the day, people who want your success, if you have what they think your success is. That's another thing I wanted to kind of address a little bit too. I've talked about it sometimes, but like for me, I like referencing myself because it's easy. And to you guys, I don't mean to say this in any way, but whatever you think about me, like me being successful or me being whoever you think I am or whatever I am, I don't know, and I can't care what that is. My success, I am who defines that. I am who gets to choose what that looks like. A lot of other people will and do try to tell you what it should be like and what it should feel like and all that kind of stuff. They are wrong. It is what you want it to be. You get to choose it. You are not having to operate in the system that people tell you to. You don't have to do it. You know what I mean? And you don't have to be like, okay, my family, we're all bakers. So I got to be I got to work as a baker too because that's the family thing. Like that kind of that's old mentality. You don't have to be anything. You can be from anywhere and go somewhere, anywhere else. Leave. Get on the path. You want success? Go define it for yourself. What you think I have as success is not what will make you happy. I promise there's a lot of things that would not make you happy about my life. You like the things like this that you get to see. You like that I get to go to Costa Rica. You like that I'm competing in these shows. You don't like the feeling that it has when I talk to you on Saturday after finishers.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
You have to feel those lows to feel the...
If you want to be what I am, you have to do what I did. I think we've said this before on here now that I'm thinking about it again. Like, it's come up so many times, and I'm not trying to be rude to people. I want you to understand. It's like the secret is in you. It's in you. You have it. You just have to draw it out. And you can't take it from somebody else. You can't get it from somebody else. They can inspire you. You can try to be like what you think will make you happy. But sometimes you get it and you realize that's not it. It's not really dang, I thought I was going to be happy when I got that. No, man. Now that's more stress. Now you got to double down on work.
Mo money, mo problems.
What does that mean? Right? You think that means one thing,
No, but
it's,
it means something
yeah,
entirely different.
right? It could mean a bunch of different things. So like that's one of the things. Like I create the work that I try to create work that I enjoy. I try to create things that make me happy that will also create money for us, because that's the only way I can kind of operate.
But it doesn't mean that like you don't, like you and I have talked about this. Like it doesn't mean that you don't do the hard things.
No,
Just because you're saying that, we had that conversation about like putting on the show and like making sure that the show, like sometimes it's going to be inconvenient, but
no,
like
it's uncomfortable in itself. Yeah. But then when it's done, I'm happy with what I've done.
That's what you mean by looking for the happiness.
I'm looking. Yeah. Yes, I'm proud of myself now, in ways that I had never been proud of myself before, because I attached my self-worth to a career maybe, or needing to go to college maybe, or needing to have an undefeated MMA record and get into the UFC, or can I just get to Bellator, or maybe somebody will call me for an international fight. Yeah. I can do Jiu-Jitsu. Maybe I'll win a world title in Jiu-Jitsu. No. EBI? No. Nothing. No big titles. Won lots of smaller ones. Runner up a bunch of times. Lots and lots of times. I can tell you what that feels like. Lots of times. I've won a lot of matches at big tournaments, but I've never won a big tournament. So it's weird. You know what I mean?
But I mean, how many people get the opportunity to know, like that's what most people feel. So like you can navigate that with somebody. How few people know what it feels like to be world champion in UFC or whatever? Like a few? Like that's not a very identifiable thing. So like a lot of times, sometimes those guys make great coaches.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily see that many champions being that many great coaches.
No, for sure. For sure. That's what I mean. And again, circling back to the Lonnie thing, it's like the things that you saw as your greatest. And that's what I mean is like once I hear that, the things that bother me the most about myself are the things that other people can probably relate to. Maybe not everybody can't relate to that, or this or the other thing.
But everybody loses. Even the champion loses.
Loss, right? Loss. Everybody has experienced loss in some way.
Of some sort.
You've lost your home, your car, your job, your family somehow to death or whatever kind of, you know what I mean? You've lost people experience loss.
It's a human experience.
It's normal to do that, and it's healthy to understand it and how to navigate it. You can't run from it. I'm not saying you have to want it, right? You can't want it to happen, or because then you're going to get it. But it has to happen to you while you're trying. It's one of those like 4 experiences or whatever kind of you're talking about that Brandon mentions for competition. Like you have to try your best to get it, or what you think is your best. And then you may realize, I was underprepared. Or you may realize you were overprepared. But you never know until you cross that line. Well, how do I know at what point to get up to my feet in this guard pass? When you feel it. That's right there.
That moment.
Right then. It's too late then. If I've said it and
thought about it,
it's too late. Yeah. That moment, it's not the same moment anymore. It's not the same move. He's already reacted. She's already reacted. It's and that's life. That's life. You make these choices, and sometimes you make the wrong one, and hopefully you don't make, again, the metaphor, hopefully you don't make the one that leads all the way to a submission before you get a chance to back up and try again. So playing it safer may not be as exciting to everyone, but it does give you more opportunities to keep shooting shots.
Well, are you there to shoot shots, or
you're there to play? You're still playing. You know what I mean? I guess. I guess that's my reference point on that. You get more opportunities to come back to the thing. Like if you, I don't know, lose it every time you go out, and then nobody's going to go out with you. Nobody's going to want to hang out with you, like at the bar or whatever. This guy gets smashed and start shit with people. Nobody's going to want to be that guy's friend, except for other people like that. So you're going to be who you are. If you want to be, just you choose. I guess that's the message. You choose. You get to choose who you are. You get to say what you are, who you are, and how you want to do it. And sometimes you are different people in different circumstances. You often are different people in different circumstances. You're not the same person to your best friend as you are to your coworker or to the stranger on the street. Typically, you're going to act a little bit. You have to kind of navigate the world a little bit differently in certain situations. So just choose how you're going to act. Don't let them tell you who to be. Them being anyone. So much love, guys. I think that's going to be it.
That's cool. You want to plug it? Next Friday?
Next Friday, May 21st. I think it starts at 6 p.m. Central. The PGF finale. There's 8 dudes in there that were the top of the top at the PGF this season. I'm going to go in there and lock it up with Matt Elkins. All respect to Matt. He's a G. I can't wait for it to be there. It's a long time coming, I guess, at this point now. Much love, guys. Peace.